The largest machine in the world is the US electrical grid. It's over 6 million plus miles long and powers 340 million people. Every business, military base, hospital, and data center. The insane thing is that this gigantic machine is currently very inefficient. Its most critical interconnections can only transfer enough energy to power no more than 9 airplanes. In a world where energy scales AI and wins wars, we need to solve our struggling grid fast before it becomes a national security issue. Take a look at this chart. China is now producing more electrons than the US, India, and the EU combined. Right now, while everyone is obsessing about the AI arms race, only a select few are focusing on the actual hidden arms race that will really decide the winner of AI. Global supremacy and national security in the 21st century. That is the race for energy. AI scales based on compute, and ultimately on the amount of power available to feed it. Right now, AI is consuming more electrons than entire countries, and our electrical grid just can't keep up. This means whoever solves the grid problem will win the century in tech, economics, and war. When you understand this, a critical shift happens in how you think about energy. Energy isn't a climate issue, it is a national security issue. So what is the real reason why the US grid fell behind? For a century, more electricity meant more progress in industry, technology, and defense. Then, around the year 2000, US electrical generation started to flatline, around 4,000 to 4,200 terawatt hours per year. Our mass adoption of energy-efficient technologies combined with a structural shift away from heavy industry saved an estimated 1,800 terawatts of power. We got so good at using less energy that we didn't notice we had stopped building more. Meanwhile, China's electricity output exploded, around 600%, surpassing the US, EU, and India combined by 2024. So what happened? By the 2000s, US energy policy had become framed almost entirely as a climate story, centered on emissions. Within a decade, high voltage transmission construction had collapsed to 97%. New solar projects faced litigation nearly 2/3 of the time, and state siting boards blocked interconnection lines between regions. We didn't stop investing because we lacked money, we stopped because regulation slowed development to a crawl, and the narrative shifted from expansion to mitigating impact. The result? We are now building the foundations of our US economy on a deadlocked 20th century era power grid. If energy abundance is proportional to technological capacity, what happens when there's no new available energy capacity? Every quote-unquote new thing, EVs, heat pumps, AI, takes from something else, creating a war for electrons amongst our greatest innovations, steadily driving up electricity prices and handicapping the industry's growth. In 2025, Microsoft and Google both pulled back or paused US data center expansions after facing community opposition over energy use, perceived water consumption, and local environmental impacts. Demands, meanwhile, continue to spike. In the next 15 years, the US needs 10 times as much new power as we have installed in the last 15 years. Global data center electricity demand is expected to more than double by 2030, roughly today's total usage by Russia or Japan. But here's a twist. To increase capacity dramatically in the short term, we don't just need more power plants. The real bottleneck isn't what you'd expect. By the way, if you want the full charts and sources for all of this data, I put the full 80-page deep dive into our Substack. The link is below. The story we're all told is that we just need to build more power plants, fast. But increasing capacity in the near term isn't just about building more power plants. The reality is that the US already has abundant energy. We have the 4th largest natural gas reserves in the world and some of the best solar and wind potential on Earth. The problem is that our grid, the electricity highway, is fragmented. It has 4 separate, semi-isolated grids with limited high voltage ties between them. There's just roughly 1.3 gigawatts of transfer capacity between the western and eastern grids. That's barely enough power to keep 9 Boeing 747s flying. This means even when one region has a cheap surplus, it can't easily ship that extra energy to a different region in crisis. So the actual bottleneck isn't supply, it's the 10+ year regulatory queue just to get approved for a single new high voltage transmission line that could connect these inefficient, separated grids. Tack on to that 3 or more years of regulatory bottlenecks for new plants or grid-scale batteries, those years of regulation are centuries in AI time. Now, layer in the age of our grid. Roughly 70% of transformers and transmission lines are more than 25 years old, and 60% of circuit breakers are more than 30 years old. The investment gap just to modernize this alone is roughly $578 billion, assuming there's even inventory available to purchase. So if the AI race is fundamentally an energy race, the long-term constraint in winning in the AI race isn't just about new generation, it's solving these transmission and coordination and distribution issues throughout the United States, figuring out how deregulation and decentralization also play a role. So if you need energy, but the grid is not able to service your needs, what do you do with that bottleneck? You bypass the bottleneck. That's exactly what hyperscalers are doing. The grid's most important customers are bypassing the grid entirely. This approach is called power coupling. Build a power plant near your data center, tie it directly behind the meter, and smooth it with huge gigascale batteries. xAI's Colossus 1 and 2 projects in Memphis are the headline example, together expected to exceed 1 gigawatt of demand with dedicated off-grid generation. Others are quickly following. The off-grid revolution is teaching us 2 critical lessons. Number 1, co-location works. Building power generation next to the demand eliminates all these transmission inefficiencies and losses. It reduces infrastructure costs, it guarantees supply, and it speeds up deployment from decades to months. And number 2, private capital moves with more urgency than governmental processes. Tech companies are able to leverage existing buildings and use temporary gas turbines to meet immediate demand. This mitigates demand spikes and opens up some breathing room when the local grid is already stressed. Between 1978 and 2020, environmental impact review times grew from 2 years to nearly 8 years on average for every project. Today, the very laws designed to protect the environment prevent the clean energy infrastructure needed to actually decarbonize it. Not only that, the regulations we have are almost guaranteeing that China will continue to outpace us. So the goal for America is simple. Return to intentional system design and expansion of our energy system so that our technological growth, our AI, and our industries aren't bottlenecked by a grid built in the 1970s. We have enormous gas reserves, world-class solar and wind potential, the largest capital markets in the world, and the most innovative companies on Earth. We need to speed up our own approvals and allow builders to update our grid for the 21st century. We need to build new capacity from all sources, and we need to continue our historic build-out of batteries itself. Energy can't just be a climate politics talking point anymore. It needs to be recognized as the singular national security platform issue that is the foundation of our capacity, the foundation of our military power, and the foundation of our economic power. It drives technology now and into the future. If we can solve the grid, we win the century.